Welcome to your new favorite film recap channel. Grab your popcorn and enjoy the movie. And don't forget to like it so other people like this movie. Thank you. The movie begins with Elliot Deacon, who is a funeral director and owns a funeral home. Every day, he gets the bodies ready for their funerals and talks softly to them. Right now, he is preparing the body of an old piano teacher. We then cut to a middle school teacher, Anna Taylor, who is having intercourse with her boyfriend, Paul. Despite the romantic setting, she doesn't seem to be enjoying it at all. Later, while showering, Paul inquires about the matter, but she insists that she's fine, though her expression says the opposite. After that, Anna goes to work, where she sees two big kids bullying her little student, Jack. She tells them off and makes them go away after work. Anna is leaving school when the lights start flickering in the hallway. She gets scared and runs towards the exit, but the door is locked in this scary moment. Jack appears and easily opens the door. That night, Anna goes to Elliot's place for her former piano teacher's funeral. When she gets close to the body, she thinks she sees it moving its mouth, which scares her at first, but when she looks again, everything seems normal, and she realizes it was just her imagination. Later that night, Anna meets Paul at a fancy restaurant for dinner. He tells her about his promotion to the company's headquarters in Chicago, and he wants her to go with him. He takes out a ring, planning to propose, but before he can, Anna starts arguing because she thinks he's going to break up with her. Paul tries to explain, but she storms off without listening. She drives away, upset, and ends up getting into a traffic accident in the heavy rain. In the next scene, we see Anna on a table in the funeral home, looking pale with a wound on her forehead. Shortly after, Elliot walks in and starts getting her ready. When he starts taking off her clothes, Anna opens her eyes and asks where she is. Elliot, surprisingly calm, tells her she's in the funeral home and that she's dead. He reminds her that she got in an accident with a truck carrying metal pipes and died 8 hours ago. Anna is confused and scared. She doesn't believe she's dead, even though Elliot assures her she's just transitioning to the afterlife. Meanwhile, Paul wakes up at his house and tries to call his girlfriend many times, but now Anna's things are with Elliot, who ignores Paul's calls and puts her stuff in a storage closet with the things of other dead people. Paul can't find Anna anywhere, so he goes to her mother's house to ask where she is. To his surprise, Mom tells him about the sad accident that caused her death. She also says it's his fault for letting her drive in such bad weather back at the funeral home. Elliot stitches Anna's wounds, but she's surprised that she doesn't feel any pain. She asks him about it, but he ignores her and gives her a shot of a made-up drug called hydronium bromide, saying it will relax her muscles later. Anna's mom, who uses a wheelchair, comes to the funeral home to see her. She talks to Anna's body in a sad voice, asking who will take care of her now before she leaves. She asks Elliot to change her hair back to its natural brown color. Later on, Anna wakes up to find herself alone in the room. She gathers enough strength and sits up straight. Then she walks over to the landline phone, but it isn't working. Just then, Paul shows up at the funeral home and asks Elliot to let him see his girlfriend. Despite his desperation, the funeral director refuses to let him in because he has no legal ties to her hearing. Paul's voice, Anna screams and pounds on the door, but her efforts go unnoticed. Paul then goes to the police station to meet his friend Tom, hoping that he can do something to get him inside the funeral home. However, another police officer informs him that Tom has gone for his patrol duty and will be back soon. Until then, Paul goes to the police impound and sits inside Anna's wrecked car. During this, he has a vision of his girlfriend, which is suddenly interrupted by Tom's hand. Paul begs him to do something to help him see Anna, but Tom is helpless in this regard. On the other hand, Anna wanders around the room and finds another corpse lying on the table, not wanting to end up in such a fate. She grabs a pair of scissors and waits for Elliot. As soon as he walks in, she threatens to kill him, but he looks unfazed. He claims that she is incapable of harming him because she's already dead. Anna argues, questioning how she is able to talk to him if she's dead at this point. Elliot reveals that she's able to talk to him because he has a gift, the ability to communicate with dead people. He further suggests that she let go of life because her funeral is in 3 days, after which she'll be put into a coffin and buried forever. In the next scene, Elliot is preparing an old woman's body for the funeral when he is joined by Jack, who seems to know about Anna's death. The boy asks about her teacher, to which Elliot replies that her funeral is on Friday and asks him to leave for now. The next morning, Paul hears the boy ask about her teacher, to which Elliot replies that her funeral is on Friday and asks him to leave for now. However, he soon snaps out of his sleep, realizing that it was just a dream. Meanwhile, Elliot returns to Anna with a dress, which she will be wearing at her funeral. While he is distracted, she discreetly steals a bunch of keys from his pocket later as Elliot sets out to pick up another dead body from the hospital. Anna hastily uses the stolen keys and tries unlocking the door. Elliot pulls over at a gas station to refill his tank and realizes that he forgot his keys, so he rushes back to the funeral home. In the meantime, Anna manages to unlock the door and wanders around the house. She soon comes across a room with a telephone. She quickly dials Paul's number and starts praying for him to pick up. After a long ring, he picks up the call but soon hangs up, thinking that it's another hallucination. Just then, Elliot finds her and lets her see her corpse-like self in a mirror. This finally makes her believe that she has actually died at the same time. Jack, who is standing right in front of the house, notices Anna, leaving him in shock. Additionally, another suspicious event transpires. Anna sighs in front of the mirror, causing her breath to fog. However, Elliot cleverly wipes it off before she sees it, now that she is convinced of her death. Anna stops resisting Elliot's preparation of her body and doesn't give any importance to what he administers her with on the following day. Paul goes to Anna's school to collect her belongings when he's about to leave. He is greeted by Jack, who tells him that he saw Anna in the funeral home wearing a red dress yesterday. Paul doesn't believe him and asserts that she is dead, but when the boy claims that he doesn't love her enough, Paul becomes so angry that he slaps him in front of everyone. At the funeral home, a police officer arrives to see the dead body of his brother, who is kept in the same room as him. He then asks Elliot to leave him alone with his brother for a few minutes as the funeral director leaves. The officer's true intention becomes apparent as he approaches Anna's naked body, but just when he's on the verge of touching her, Elliot walks in and asks him to leave afterwards. Jack revisits the funeral home and confides in Elliot about what he saw the other day. In response, Elliot calmly replies that they both share the same ability to communicate with deceased individuals on his way home. Paul suddenly recalls the red dress Anna wore in the morning before she died. This raises his suspicion that his girlfriend might still be alive. He rushes to the funeral home, demanding to see her, but Elliot refuses this time. Paul ignores him and breaks in, calling out for Anna. He continues searching for her until the funeral director threatens to summon the police. Paul then goes to the police station and tells Tom that his girlfriend is still alive. He further speculates that Anna has been sedated with a high dose of drugs, slowing down her heartbeat to the lowest point. However, his friend doesn't believe in him, as he doesn't have any evidence to back up his claim later on. Elliot dresses Anna with her funeral attire while the two have some deep conversation. She confesses that she was never happy with her life and wasn't able to love Paul wholeheartedly. However, now she regrets everything. The scene then cuts to the day of the funeral, where Elliot places Anna in the coffin as he prepares to inject her with another dose of drugs. She asks to see herself for one last time. He then holds up a small mirror, and while she stares at herself, she notices her breath condensing on the glass. This makes her realize that Elliot has been lying to her the entire time and that she isn't dead yet. In a state of panic, she tries to fight, but Elliot administers the drugs, rendering her unconscious. Later, everyone gathers for the funeral hall to say their last goodbyes to Anna after a short, while Paul arrives and puts an engagement ring on her finger. During this time, Anna's lips and eyelids move a little, making Elliot nervous, so he decides to close the coffin after it's buried in the graveyard. The very upset Paul starts drinking a lot. The funeral director comes to him, and Paul accuses him of burying Anna while she was still alive. Elliot suggests maybe he's right and tells him to go check angry. Paul starts to attack, but before he can, Elliot warns him that time is running out. Feeling the urgency, Paul rushes to the graveyard. Meanwhile, Anna wakes up inside the coffin and screams for help as she runs out of air, even though he's drunk. Paul drives fast, narrowly avoiding other cars on the highway. When he gets to the graveyard, he digs up Anna's coffin and gets her out. He somehow brings her back to life, and then she tells him she loves him at the same time. Paul hears strange noises, and Anna tells him it's the sound of Elliot cutting his clothes with scissors. Suddenly, Paul finds himself in the funeral home with Elliot standing over him, getting his body ready just like he did with Anna. Elliot tells Paul that he didn't make it to the cemetery because he had a car accident and died. Paul argues that he's still alive, but Elliot puts a tool deep into his body, and that is the end of the movie. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. See you in the next video.